Welcome everybody to the lecture, How Past Lives Influence You. And this is being given by the Unarius Academy of Science. Unarius is a spiritual school. More than that, it's an interdimensional school. Each one of you, every one of us, we're not only spiritual beings, we're energy beings. And this physical body that we walk around with and bump into people and gain experiences in this life with is the smallest part of who we really are. So the class that we're going to be having today, or the lecture, is all about how to utilize the understanding in a pragmatic and practical way that you have lived many, many lives, and those lives are influencing who you are today. Those many lives that every one of us have gone through form the basis for our inhibitions, our insecurities, our problems, our ability to do different things. All those things add up to the evolutionary path every one of us has taken. So each one of us has had many experiences that form the energy body that is the soul, if you want to call it that, of our consciousness. And what we want to talk about today is not only that you have lived before, but what to do about it. It's great. You say, well, I've lived before. Well, that's great. What do you do about that? How do you take that information that you have maybe been in a different body, whether you're a male now and you're in a female, or you're in a female now and you were a male in the past? What do you do about that? Why should we care? Well, we're going to explore those things in the class today. My name is Kevin Kennedy, in case you can't read this enormous name tag they gave us. And this is my wife, Tracy. I have been a student of past lives and past life therapy at the Unarius Academy for over 35 years. In that time, I've had many different recognitions and realizations of my past lives, what they have been, and for the most part, if you are here to find out if you were Napoleon, this isn't the class for you. Okay? It just doesn't work that way, for the most part. For the most part, somebody who's been a very famous life usually doesn't realize it. They, it's just a part of your whole, it's part of your whole being, so you're not really interested. But we're going to be exploring some fun things and talking about some wonderful examples of what it means to have the understanding and awareness and the tools that you need to take the situations in your current life and be able to trace them back to the past.
So my name is Tracy Kennedy, and as Kevin said, we're here for, as representatives of the Unarius Academy of Science. And how many have heard of Unarius before walking in here today?
A few of you? Very good.
Well, it's a spiritual school, and interdimensional science is what we study, and it's been in existence since 1954. And it was founded by two very clairvoyant cosmic visionaries, Ernest and Ruth Norman. And when they met, they knew that they had this mission, which was to bring up to date all these different teachings that have been brought forth on our planet, but in the current scientific understanding of the day. And what they did is they pioneered this study called past life therapy. And what happened was in 1956, Ernest Norman in Los Angeles actually gave a lesson course called The Infinite Concept of Cosmic Creation that outlines these interdimensional principles, these energy principles of which we're all made of. We all know that energy can't be destroyed, it's only changed in form. And you have what's called psychic anatomy, many people know it as your soul, your energy body, but that is what states, that is really truly what we are. And our consciousness is what we carry through in between lives, from life to life, not only in third physical dimensions, but non-atomic dimensions. So this particular book outlines the core teachings of the Unarius Academy of Science and past life therapy, of which, as Kevin said, we've been studying for many, many years. I've been a student since 1984, and I absolutely love what I have been able to learn, because there hasn't been any question that I've ever had in my life that if I sincerely asked and questioned, I've been able to get the answer to. And that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So in this Science of Life and Past Life Therapy, the Academy offers ongoing classes on Sunday and Wednesday night. And we'll get into more about where we can go from here at the end of our talk. But what is so wonderful is it's helped thousands and thousands of people throughout the last 60 years. We're celebrating our 60th anniversary next weekend, which we're really excited about, to change their lives for the better through understanding and application of these scientific principles. And it's not easy. And a lot of people think that past lives are kind of, oh, that's kind of interesting. Well, I think maybe I lived one life, or yeah, maybe I did this. And we've lived many, 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 many lifetimes. And that's what really influences us today. Everything that we do, everything we walk, breathe, eat, talk, sleep, that's all a result of what we've created in our energy body for all these previous lifetimes. Now, most people go about their daily life and think, well, is this happening in my childhood and it's affecting me today? And that's true, it is. But that's a result of what's happened before in many, many different previous lifetimes. So how do these classes happen? How do we begin to study past life therapy? Well, we study the energy principles. We have to understand ourselves, and I like to think of myself as a scientific experiment in action. Now, how do these energy principles work? How am I made up of energy? How does it work? And even though I've been studying for 30 years, I am just a beginner, and all the students that attend classes at the Academy, that facilitate the classes, Kevin and I are one of several students that help to facilitate the classes. We're all the first to say we are not the teachers, we're not the masters, we are students of life, students of progressive truth. And as long as I keep that attitude, as soon as I start to say, I've got it, I know it, that's when I'm downsliding and reverting to past lives that influence me in a negative way.
So I'm going to draw something on the board here. And really, when we talk about it, we've all been through the booths downstairs for the most part, and there's a lot of talk about a lot of different things, which is really great. Consciousness, love. We got to love everybody. We got to love each other. We got to love ourselves. Very, very true. We have a higher self. Yes, everybody has a higher self. But what I'm sorry?
Higher purpose.
Higher purpose. We all have a higher purpose. What is our higher purpose? Why am I here? But the thing that what Unarius helps us realize is that not only do we have all those aspects of our consciousness, and is very valid and true, but it helps it break away from the mysticism and the superstition. How do we get away from what we maybe have done in many past lifetimes, where we worshipped animals, or we, whatever it was we did, thinking that somehow or another, if I prayed loud enough and hard enough, God is going to answer me. Well, it all comes down to this. Anybody tell me what this is? It's a sine wave. Very good. This is the signature of energy in action, from positive to negative. And everything that we do, everything that we go through in this life, whatever we're doing, can be traced back to this, the sine wave. Whether you're incepting information through your eyes, what is light? What is, how does it interact with our brain? How does our brain function? Whether it's sound, you're talking, you're communicating with each other. Well, that goes from me to you through the sine wave. It can be taken back to its most basic, fundamental frequency, which is that waveform. So if this is what is going on all the time, all around us, and we are interacting, Tesla, anybody here heard of Nikola Tesla? Yeah. He is the greatest genius to walk this earth, helped bring about the electronic industrial age that we now have. He's the reason that when you turn on lights, you get light. Said that I am but beat frequencies oscillating with other beat frequencies. We're all just energy beings swimming in a vast sea of energy. So if that is the case, then we can begin to understand that what we are experiencing right now is because of some experience that we've gone through, something that we've been involved with, and it has impinged energy information into our, what we call the psychic anatomy, or our energy body. That also helps us, if we begin to conceive that and work with that principle, understand that as a soul, as an entity of consciousness, I have to take personal moral responsibility for everything that happens in my life. When we're really involved in light workers and involved in this progressive pathway, we come to the point where we realize it doesn't do us any good whatsoever to blame anybody for anything that is happening in our life, in situations and circumstances that we may deem evil or awful, or I don't like them because if they did this, this, and this. And really what it comes back to is beginning to be aware of if we are just energy waveforms and we've stored all this information, if you want to call it, in your hard drive of consciousness, in your energy body. We're just stimulus, being stimulated by external situations and we're responding in kind. Being a master means being able to have those situations come to us, but we are not emotionally reacting immediately to that external environment situation. What the heck does that have to do with past lives? We know that I've said that that information has impinged itself within my energy body. How many have ever been in a relationship where it was very difficult? Oh, come on. I always use that because everybody has. It doesn't matter if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, girlfriend, son, daughter. We've all been engaged in situations that are very difficult and are challenging us to rise to our best selves, to rise to our better nature. But what we may not understand is, if we have this energy oscillation within that psychic anatomy, within that energy body, from a previous experience with that soul, which is really what it comes down to, until we get back to understanding that and understanding how to discharge maybe a negative situation or circumstance with that person, it's like you're doing a cosmic dance and you don't know how to step off the floor. You know? Yes?
One thing I'm trying to understand is that we have, let's say, 7 billion people on this planet right now.
Yeah.
A couple thousand years ago or so, maybe there was only 1 million or less. How do you explain that new creation of this energy that's in souls today versus, millennia ago?
Did everybody hear his question? Because it's a very good one. Yes. How can we have so many people on this planet now if there's such a thing as reincarnation when there wasn't that many people years and years and years ago? It's a very valid question. There's two things that are going on in this world, on this planet right now. How many have heard of the New Age? New Spiritual Age, New Golden Age. At this particular point, this particular junction of cycles, this is a monumental time in the history of planet Earth where we're moving into that Golden Age, the Aquarian Age. And in previous times, in previous cycles, you maybe have incarnated into a civilization, died by whatever means, went over to the other side, and when you go over to the other side, if you have any knowledge whatsoever, any inkling of inspiration whatsoever, you go to or are taught in classrooms on the inner planes of light. You just don't hang around with the heart on a cloud somewhere. There's actual integration with higher beings and higher worlds. Now, you may take 500 years between incarnations. You may take 1,000 years between incarnations. It's up to the individual and what they've set up for themselves and what they're trying to accomplish. But at this particular time, at this particular junction of cycles for planet Earth, and for the whole galaxy, really, it was very valuable for all of us to incarnate at this particular point in this cycle, so that we could be at the beginning of this leap forward for humanity for ourselves. So the cycles were greatly stepped up. So, and I've talked to many people and have experienced that myself, and my wife has as well, where it may have only been a year before you incarnated again. It may have been you came back immediately. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, this is not the only planet with life on. There is life throughout the cosmos. And because of what this planet is and what it represents, we have had many people incarnating on this world from other worlds for this particular cycle at this particular time. So that adds to the population difference between, 2,000 years ago and now, 500 years ago and now. And why we're seeing such an explosion of population now and where those souls come from.
I turned it off, Another aspect of your question is we have so much disparity on our planet right now. Just I think in the history of our planet, we've had maybe 2 years where we haven't been at war. Well, all that uprising, all that unrest that we have is a result of all of us are from so many different planets where we didn't get along in our past life. And we're kind of like, okay, everybody, you're attracted because of your frequency to this planet where you're going to have to learn how to get along, how to resolve your differences, and understand and see that higher self, that spark within one another. So that's another reason why there's so many people, because we have karma to work out together.
But wouldn't it work a lot easier if you had the majority of the people with that positive energy rather than having people come from other planets with negative energy and try to work that all
Well,
out?
you have to understand though too, there's and we'll get more into the questions as we go through this, because we should continue on with the basis of the need of the lecture. But most of us, before we incarnated on this planet, quite frankly, and if you look around on this world, how many have looked around on this world and thought, this is the sickest, craziest world there could ever be?
And how am I a part of it?
Why am I here? That's the next question. Well, there's a reason you're here. There's a reason we're all here. It's like the person looking around the crazy house and saying, these people are all insane. Well, we're here because our frequency, who we are, who we have stored, what information we have stored in our energy body, it forms a vibration. It forms an oscillation. And imagine it's a signal, and it is. It's a signal being sent out from your energy body saying, hello, this is who I am. And this world says, oh, this is who you are. I'm oscillating on that frequency too. And there you go. So we're incarnating into this world, for the most part, as Tracy was saying, so that we can work out these negative paths that we have each been involved with. And some of the positive ones as well, some of these experiences that we've all incarnated into that we needed to learn from. And so not everybody, actually 99.9% of the people, aren't intelligent enough, even on the other side, to say, well, I think I'm going to do this. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do when I get on that world. We're simply drawn there like a magnet because of the frequency of association between people and the things on that planet.
So, and I wanted to say thank you, everybody, for coming today, because by coming, it shows your intention to, if you haven't already done so, to begin to make that positive change within your consciousness to be part of a progressive movement on our planet. And one of the things that we study is we work on removing the blocks, the psychic shocks, the traumas, the problems that we have on our life. Because if we focus on the things that fill up our ego, that doesn't get us anywhere. And all the wonderful attributes that we have in this lifetime, whether we're an artist, Kevin is a wonderful inspirational artist, whatever skills we have, those are the things that we've developed in between lifetimes on those spiritual planes where we've gone to school and we learn how to do this and then come back and develop it again, put it into action in lifetimes. The things that we have generated over and over again, the things that have gotten us into trouble and keep us stuck and blocked off and feeling like we can't express creatively are through studying past life therapy, understanding where we've been, we can get to the cause to change the effect that we see manifested in our life. And one of the things that we talked about in this description was sharing some personal examples of experiences that we've had and how we've been able to apply these principles and make the change to see positive change in your life. So I'm going to go ahead and share an example, and we have a lot. We've been a student for a long time. 4 years ago, Kevin and I bought a condo to live in, and it was on the first floor, and the floor above us we had this single woman, single mom, and she had 2 kids. And one was 18, the other was 19, a young woman and her brother. And they have dogs, and we moved in, and a couple months after we moved in, we started hearing loud music when she wasn't there. And it wasn't just loud music, it was loud music.
Window shattering music.
One time I was home by myself, she was gone, I was in the kitchen, the music was so loud that the kitchen was shaking from the noise. And I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Well, student of past life therapy, one of the things that we practice is trying to be aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our reactions. Well, that was out the door calling. And I couldn't go say anything to these people because I would have screamed at them. So he comes home, and I just said, you can't. He goes, what's that? I said, I am so angry. Well, he tried not to do anything, and about a half an hour later, he ran upstairs and said something, knocked on the door, can you please turn down your music? And they're screaming and yelling, and you old man, go away. And
Where are you kids? Get off my lawn.
this happened a couple more times, and it was bad. And then she got a boyfriend, a single mom, and she was gone all the time. And we couldn't even say anything to her because we really didn't know her that well, but we couldn't even say anything to her because she was gone all the time. The kids were just playing their loud music. Loud, 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 loud. Well, we're trying to work with past life therapy and understand, well, we must have done something to these kids in the past and it's causing what's happening now. So, writing in our journal, utilizing all the tools. Well, it worked a little bit, but not really. So we finally wrote a letter to the homeowners association because we tried to get in contact and we said, okay, we'll be civil. They don't say who it comes from. She comes downstairs a couple weeks later and says, doesn't say I know it was you, but basically I know it was you. I said, well, yeah, they have been kind of loud. She gave me her phone number and said, call me if anything happens and let me know. And they charge $500 if I to pay a fine if you don't get this changed. So that was great, and things kind of quieted down. But it still went on, and the kids hated us. I mean, every time they saw us, they'd look away and ignore us. And somehow the mom asked me if I would walk her dog sometimes. Create little pugs. I said, yeah, okay, I'll walk them. And so, time went on, and there was still this tremendous negation between us because the kids would still play the music every once in a while. I'd start to call the mom now, and she'd call the kids, and the music would be turned down. And they still would give her, dirty looks all the time. It's like, this isn't the way I want to be with our neighbors. Not that I want to be friends with you, but at least want to be civil and say hello. So what happened was it started like January. In October, Unarius was having its annual Interplanetary Conclave of Light event. Fantastic event. People come from all over. We celebrate that there's intelligent life in the world. It's a great event. Well, I was getting ready for that event, and Christine, the neighbor, had asked if I would watch the dogs and take them out for a walk. And they were upstairs in her daughter's bathroom. She gave me the keys. My husband was gone. Nobody was in our house. Jennifer, my friend, was in our condo. And I walk upstairs to get the dogs. I don't take my phone. All I have is the key. I go into her bedroom. I go to get the dogs. I'm in the young girl's bedroom, who I've had all this anger towards. But I'm in the bedroom. I go to get the dogs, and I go to walk out, and it's dark in her bedroom. And I turn around, and I go to open up the door, and the door's locked. And I can't get out. And I'm stuck with 3 dogs in this dark room. And now we've got this huge event. Jennifer's downstairs in the bathroom. I'm sure she's not going to be able to hear. I couldn't call anybody, and I started freaking out. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't think we had, we did. I got on the phone. I finally found her phone, and I called Jennifer, and I kept calling, and she finally got the phone. Said, Jennifer, I'm upstairs. I'm locked in her bedroom. Can you come and get me out? So she came, and after like 10 minutes, we figured it out. I got out, and I'm like, wow, that was it was a shock. It was a shock. Be in the dark in somebody else's house, locked in this room with the dogs. So back to, okay, what we call it a reliving. What had I regenerated from my past? To be locked in somebody else's room, this woman who doesn't like me with the dogs. And what happened was we had a past life therapy workshop at our event, which is a 2-hour workshop, and we go into more detail than we'll be able to today. And we had a healing session, and we listened to some inspirational talk by one of the co-founders of Unarius, Ruth Norman, who you know by Uriel. And we're just quieting my mind, being open to spirit, being open to that guidance. And what happened was I saw a picture of myself in a past where I had actually taken this young woman and I had her jailed because whatever position I was in, I didn't like what she had done, and I threw her into jail with animals in the dark, in cold, in horrible situation for a long time. So I had that awareness, and I'm healing with it, and there's obviously more because I feel emotion with it right now. But when I realized that, I went, oh my gosh, no wonder why this woman hates me. And she's just doing what she did. She doesn't know any better. She's just doing what she did in many, many past lifetimes. And I know I've had an influence on her in the past. That's why, as Kevin talked about, this dance of energy that we have between all of us, because we're all beat frequencies, I attracted this right back to me from my past. And when I had that awareness of what I had done to her, I had so much more compassion for her. And it didn't bother me anymore. And what happened was the loud music stopped. They hardly ever played their loud music anymore. And they got to talking to us. And again, not that we want to be friends, to where now when we see her, we've moved away, but when we see her, because we still live in the same neighborhood, she's, hi, how you doing? How's your dog? Because we have a dog. Oh, it's so good to see you. And just friendly, normal conversation. But energy, the reason why there was such a change is because I accepted personal responsibility, which is very important, for what energy I had put in motion in my past life. With putting this woman in jail, and then getting that feedback and experiencing that horrible feeling for the 10 minutes when I was locked in her bedroom with dogs in the dark of what she had put up with in quite a while now.